Hello, salam, namaste, sat sri akal everyone. Welcome to CANDID TALKS with BharatV. This is BharatV, your host of the show. आज हमारे साथ बहुत ही टैलेंटेड पर्सनालिटी है, एक ऐसी हस्ती है जिनका नाम मैं बाद में बताऊंगा, बट शी इज अ prodigy and she has been, creating waves not just in India but across the globe.
You are listening to CANDID TALKS with BharatV.
Her name is Mohini Dey, and she is, I believe, not just one of the world's but certainly India's as well, the youngest female bass guitarist.
Please do listen to the episode till the end. Before we begin, please do not forget to subscribe to this podcast channel, and you can connect on Facebook page at CANDID TALKS with BharatV.
So let's welcome the youngest and the fastest female bass guitarist, Mohini Dey.
Hi, this is Mohini Dey और आप मुझे सुन रहे हैं on CANDID TALKS with BharatV.
And when I say youngest, I think it's not just youngest, you are also the fastest, I believe, right, Mohini?
That's really funny. Yeah, that's what people say.
But I think so, because I have been following, so many people across the world, and I don't think there's anybody else who is being called that, at least among the female, guitarists. So, but it's really proud, I feel really proud that you are one of that youngest, fastest female bass guitarist who is an Indian.
Thank you so much. I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, so welcome to the show, Mohini, and thank you so much for taking out time and joining us today on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And before we proceed further, a very, very heartiest congratulations on your marriage.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I have been following you, and I have been watching and following your, videos on YouTube. So it was an amazing one. Okay.
Thank you.
So,
thank you so much.
Coming back to the main agenda here, Mohini, before we proceed ahead, can you tell us something about your background? I know, but for our listeners, if you can tell us something about your background, how your childhood was spent, and how did you decide to become a bass guitarist?
Yeah, I think everybody knows the story by now. I basically didn't want to, pursue it as a profession. It was never a choice or a, decision made by me. It was just very naturally. It just happened very naturally because mom was singing, dad obviously a bass player. He used to take me to studios, wherever he used to record. He used to take me to all the live performances of all the shows that he used to do. Say he's playing with, Hariharan Gio is playing with Amit Trivedi, or all the people that he worked for, he would just take me along with him so that I could get introduced to the musical environment, music is such a beautiful thing. And he just didn't want me to get distracted like other kids did back in the days, where they just, hang out and go to the movies and waste time, according to him, Of course, I wanted to do those things also because I was a kid too, but I didn't understand the consequences or things that I would face if I had chosen that path. But since he was well experienced and, he was the father, my mom being a mother, they wanted the best for me and my sister. And so they pushed us to do something which kept us busy, so we couldn't have the time to waste. We couldn't have the time to put into anything else, So waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, getting dressed for school, having our breakfast, our school bus would come, pick me up, and then take me to school hours till like 12 p.m., come back home by like around 1 p.m., and then, have your lunch, freshen up, get changed, do your school homework, and then after school homework, do your classes homework. Like two different schools, days were packed. So like 2 hours for school homework, maybe 2 to 3 hours for like classes homework. And then my private tutor would come home by around like 5:30 or 6. And then she would go by like 7:30, 8 p.m., And then I would take a little break, and then I would have my dinner, and then I would do my music practice till like 12 a.m. And sometimes if my father is not home, he would come back home after shows and he would wake me up and give me my exercise, So it was like I was studying for 3 different schools, private tutor, school, and then like my father teaching me music. So I was packed. I didn't have no time to waste or to even like invest in anything else. Having said that, I'm very proud, and I'm very happy that I was able to do those things, and I was made to do those things.
Mhm.
As a kid, you don't understand what's going to happen in the future. As a kid, you don't really know why you're doing this. You're just doing this because your parents are asking you to. But
Yeah.
as days go by, then you become rebellious. You see other people, and then you're like, oh no, I want to do that too. Oh no, I want to do that too.
Mhm.
So then fights started happening, and then I started standing up and being like, no, I want to do those things. And I started making friends, and I started going out a little bit. And then I got like Friday, Saturday, Sunday off where I could play with my friends in the building and in school and stuff. So yeah, that was my childhood. It was very strict. It was strictly school learning and doing things that would help me in the future. No wasting
Okay.
time. And I think it's like Bengali families are also kind of like that. They're very infused with music, and they want their children to be something, and so they educate them as much as possible.
Mhm.
Anything doesn't even have to be music, but they just want their children to be dedicated to something and do something good in the future. So yeah, that was my childhood, and he always had this dream of having one drummer and one bass player as his children.
Okay.
So when we were born, our extended family, they were not very happy because we were girls. And so my father took it as a challenge to show people that girls are no less.
Mhm.
And so he started introducing us to the music environment and started teaching us both. And fortunately, I developed the interest of liking music and wanting to pursue it as a profession over time. When I was doing my 12th board exams, when I was going through my 12th board exams, I wanted to do fashion designing because I always had a thing for fashion, and
Okay.
I was already like stitching and making clothes and stuff. And most of my stage outfits are actually designed by me, and I design them, I stitch them. So I have that from a long time ago. I was always very, very into like craft and designing, anything to do with like creative ideation. And so I applied for a fashion college around that time. But that was also the time I got, called by Mr. Rahman, and he asked me if I wanted to be a part of his band and wanted to be a part of his Coke Studio episode. And I had already done a few episodes for Coke Studio before that. So I knew the drill.
Okay.
And being called by AR and his production team wanting me to be a part of it was really something. At that time, I didn't know how big it was, but
Mhm.
now I realize that, oh, that was a really big opportunity. Not many people get that. Back in the days, I was so naive. And being a kid, obviously, I had 3 opportunities. I had 3 golden chances.
Okay.
One was to be a part of AR's band. One was to go ahead with fashion designing because I got selected and I wanted to go through that. And then the third opportunity was I was being offered a full scholarship by Berklee College of Music. So I had to make a choice out of the 3. And I chose being a part of AR's band.
Okay.
Something inside me just like told me that that's the right decision to make. I don't know how, but it was just an instinct and intuition. Like
Mhm.
I had to do that because a lot of people would tell me, I evaluated the pros and cons, and I said to myself, if I go to Berklee College of Music, I'm going to learn so much and everything, but I won't get to experience the real world. I will get to experience the real world if I play with musicians in the real world, and if I experience these things with big personalities like AR himself and other people like Sivamani and Prasanna and, other people that were in the band. And then fashion designing was a personal, love inside. So I was like, I can do the fashion designing on the side, because if I'm gigging, I can do that on the side. I can find time for that. So it kind of just like connected all together, and it felt right for me to go ahead with being a part of AR's band. So
did you finally do the
AR
fashion
happened.
designing or not?
I did not go ahead with fashion designing, but I till today, I still stitch and I still design my clothes. All my outfits that you see online, they're all stitched and designed by me. So that's on the side. One day, hopefully, I'll have like a clothing line or something.
Your own clothing line. Yeah. So Mohini, tell me, while you were kid, I think you were probably hardly 2 or 3 when your father realized that you have the ears for music, right? And, I believe, and there is somewhere I read this that, and he's a jazz fusion and session player, right? And your mother is a classical singer. And I believe when at one point of time, he gave you that headphone to hear what he was playing, and you started tapping your foot, right? And that is when he took you to, I believe, BharatV Theatre, and you were playing also along.
No,
with
that was not the
Zakir.
time. I was too little to be taken to any theaters that time, but that was the time when he noticed the interest for music, and when he noticed the interest or the rhythm inside me, when he noticed the rhythm inside me, that it was just there, I was born with it. He started teaching me. I seriously started taking lessons, I would say around 6 or 7.
Okay.
And then I did my first show when I was 9 years old, and I started gigging from the age of 9. Was playing with a lot of people, and then he introduced me to Ranjit Uncle, because he used to play with Ranjit Uncle also. They used to do a lot of background music and like jingles and playing in other people's band and stuff. So he thought taking me to Ranjit Uncle would be a good thing, because he has to see me. My father had only spoken to him about me, just like saying that, oh, my daughter plays the bass. How many people do that? Like a lot of people say, like, oh, my kid plays this, or my kid sings, you should check him out, or you should check her out, So he didn't pay attention that much until I was brought in his presence one day to his studio. My father told him he's going to get a CD and he needs to listen to this music. And I was the CD actually. So I was picked up after my school hours. My dad picked me up, and then we went to Nirvana studio in Mahalakshmi. And I played one of Victor Wooten's tune because I was a big fan of Victor Wooten's. I mean, even now I'm a big Victor fan. But that time I used to pick up every single thing that I would see or hear coming out of Victor. And we didn't have internet that time. We didn't have computer. We only had a CD player, Walkman, and we had a DVD player after that. And my dad would put CDs, and I would use the remote to rewind and forward to pick up stuff from the TV, So I learned the hard way around. And I think that's why my ears are very strong. So I started playing one of Victor's tunes, and Ranjit Uncle got really blown away. And he was like, man, I didn't know that this was going to be the CD. I am really amazed. And that time my journey with Ranjit Uncle starts. I keep going to his studio after that once, twice a week, and then just play with him. He was the first drummer I played with, literally, started playing with, because at home you're just practicing, and that's a different type of practice, because you're solo. But when you start hearing different polyrhythmic structures around you, it throws you off because you're so used to and comfortable in your own space that hearing another person do some out of the world things, it's like it just introduces you and just exposes you to so many different backgrounds, so many different educations. Like my story is my story that comes out of my playing. His story is his story that comes out of his playing. And so you get exposed to that and you want to know more about it because it's fascinating. It's like a conversation. So I want to know more about it. So you listen and then you answer. But all that has to happen with your vocabulary through music. So I got better and better playing with him. I started doing some club gigs with him, and basically he took me under his wings.
Hi, this is Mohini Dey और आप मुझे सुन रहे हैं on Candid Talks with BharatV.
You were inclined more towards drums in your childhood. How did you shift to bass?
No, I was not inclined towards drums at all. I was not inclined towards any instrument, actually. I was just playing the bass because we had more basses in the house than other instruments because my father was a bass player. My sister was learning drums, actually, before she picked up the guitar. And that's when I was in developing interest for drums more and more when I heard my sister take lessons from various people. When I started working with Ranjit uncle, there were a lot of percussionists that I started playing with around the same time, like Sridhar Parthasarthi, a lot of kanjira players, mridangam players, and that opened a completely different box in my head. I wanted to do the things that they were doing. That developed the interest of just rhythm inside of me. And I was playing the bass, so I wanted to sound powerful. And on the other hand, I also got very excited getting appreciated by people that, oh, she's so good. Because by that time I was already making waves and people are hearing that, oh, there is this little girl doing this and that. I got excited and I was enjoying the spotlight so much that I wanted to do better and better so I get more appreciation. It's like when you're a small kid, if mother tells you or father tells you, oh, you're looking so good, you must wear that more, or like, oh, you did so good, and then you keep doing that more to get more appreciation. It's like that. So I was enjoying that spotlight, so I wanted to get better and better, and I locked myself up in the house, and there were complaints from neighbors like, turn the volume down, but I never listened. I just wanted to do my music. Sometimes my own mother would be like, how long are you going to play? Come eat now, But I just got so addicted to it that I got addicted to playing better in result of getting more appreciation. So when I was wanting to get stronger in my field, it was only because I heard these percussionists and Ranjit uncle play the drums the way he does. I wanted to sound strong. I was weak that time. I knew in my head that I can't do certain things that they can do. So I started training myself certain things and certain techniques of my dad that he used to do, like triplets and stuff. I picked that up from dad. And then I evolved, and then those techniques evolved with infusing those techniques, my dad's techniques, with like other bass players, like Victor Wooten's techniques and Michael Mandarin techniques or Abraham Laboriel's techniques. I started taking those in, like I was eating that day and night, and I started training myself to do those things on the bass. And I started creating these mathematical structures so I can play the same things what those percussionists are playing on the bass, because I wanted to sound strong. And that's how I trained myself to understand konakol better, because the way they learned in their childhood was konakol, and then they say out of their vocal abilities, all that stuff, and then they played on the mridangam and percussive instruments. And I was never trained like that. I was playing Friday, Saturday nights, like club gigs, with Uncle Louis and stuff. And it was so many things happening because inside the house, my dad was playing jazz music and my mom was singing Indian classical. And then sometimes she would sing like old school black and white movie songs, And then like with Ranjit uncle, it was like 9/8, 7.5, 6/8, 5/4, rhythmic structures. And then Uncle Louis was like contemporary jazz and like reggae. And so I was exposed to a lot of different cultures and different styles all at once. So I was like this fusion baby, my brain was turning into this like versatile, there were switches in my head. Every time I would go to Ranjit uncle, okay, mathematics on, When I would go to Uncle Louis, like, okay, now for the changes. Now I'm doing my own stuff. I personally love funk music. So I listen to a lot of like black funk. So yeah, like I just started training myself to just, be able to do those rhythmic structures on bass.
Okay. So, Mohini, when you said, fusion, I just wanted to ask this question. Like your mother being a classical singer and your father, being a jazz player.
Yeah.
Did they ever do the fusion kind of a jamming at home?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Always. Yeah. Even today, they still do. Yeah. It's amazing. It was normal to me, I was like, okay, I guess everybody does that. But later I found out, no, that's not normal.
Okay. So when exactly did you record your first solo?
Record my first solo. That's a very interesting question. My dad is right here. I'm looking at him.
Trigger your memory, Mohini.
Yeah, I guess Baraboom. So I don't remember recording the first solo, but I think this would be the right answer, which is that just told me that I recorded on Baraboom, Ranjit Uncle's album, when I was 14, right? 14. On my 14th birthday. And that had a few bars that Ranjit Uncle wanted me to solo on. So I recorded my solo on that. And I grew through the whole song. It was in 6, na? Recording session. No, actually, like first, like official recording session.
You are listening to Candid Talks with BharatV.
But before that, I had done a recording session with my dad. My dad played half the song and I played like half song. It was a Hanuman Chalisa song, T series by T series. Yeah, you should interview Dad. He knows that.
You played with Rahman and his band for quite some time, and obviously,
8.5 years.
Yeah, 8.5 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 20. I'm going to be 25 this year in like 2 months. So yeah, 8.5 years.
Oh, which date, if I may ask?
20 July.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. So, do you still play with Rahman whenever it is possible?
Yes, I still do. Absolutely. My last work with him was on this song called Hum Haar Nahi Manenge for HDFC Bank during the pandemic. This was a COVID song. We wanted to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you saw, but Janita was there, Sasha, Harshdeep, so many people. Niti, Javed Ali. Yeah, a lot of people.
Okay.
But musicians were myself, Asad Khan, Sivamani, and AR himself. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Mohini, as you said, you were more of a, live shows kind of a person. You were playing in various different
Yeah.
clubs, and then, so do you do live shows more often, or do you also prefer, kind of playing sessions in a studio or something, or doing the recordings? So, what is your
I like
preference?
fluctuations. I like fluctuations. I don't like to uh, go on or continue with one thing for too long. I like the balance of both. So when I'm doing, like, say, a lot of live shows, they have 10 shows in a month, then I like to space them out between with like recording sessions as well. So if I do a gig tomorrow, then day after tomorrow I want to do a recording session where I can
Okay.
just be at my place and do my recording, and then another the very next day I can do a live show, then again do like a.
Okay.
But see, like now we during this pandemic situation, there are no live shows. There are only recording sessions.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
now what I'm doing is just because it gets so monotonous, like because there are so many recording sessions happening, sometimes I have to do 3 recordings in one day. And
Okay.
so, and they are all so different. Like one is a metal song, one is like a completely ballad, song, one is like a um, funk song. So you have to, like, kind of take breaks in between
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
switch mind. Yeah.
Mohini, I came across one of your videos wherein you were
Yeah.
playing in the school of Berkeley, Berkeley School of Music,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
I
I was a
believe at
guest
that time it
performer.
was during when you were in the A.R. Rahman's band. I believe, was it during that time?
You are listening to Candid Talks with BharatV.
I was already in AR's band, and Berklee College of Music had asked me to come as a guest with Prasanna Ramaswamy, because I don't know why me, because I can understand Prasanna because Prasanna had worked with AR that time a lot. But I had just joined AR's band that time, but I had already done a lot of shows with AR till then. So maybe that's why they wanted me to get featured with the 100-piece band that they had. But yeah, it was a really cool opportunity because I was also considering to take the 5-week summer program in Berklee College of Music. So they wanted me to see how their lectures are performed, how they teach students and all of that. So the director and the president thought it would be a good idea to get me and show me what they do. And it just all turned out very great because I got to come to US, perform with the 100-piece band. And it was an interesting situation because for the first time, AR was in the audience. Most of the time, it's him and me on stage performing with each other. But for the first time, he was in the audience and I was like on stage performing. So it was like kind of awkward, but I was so young. I was like probably 16, I think. 16 or 17. 17. Yeah, 17. Yeah. So I was really scared. I was really scared. It was my, I think, I remember because before this trip, my dad was very scared for me. He didn't want me to go because I was traveling alone. This was the first time I was traveling alone. वो भी abroad, you know. किसी को भी डर लग जाएगा. And only 17, not even adult, and traveling by yourself. It's like, oh my God. But it was a golden opportunity. I was like, Dad, kuch nahi hoga. It's going to be fine. Don't worry. So he didn't sleep the whole night and he wanted me to know that, you know, be safe and, you know, anything you need. He made sure he informed all his friends there, you know, anything I need there. But yeah, I was so well taken care of there by all the people at Berklee team, and Prasanna was there, and I just had so much fun, to be honest. It was never a fear. The moment I left, I felt like I was touring, you know. I went there and had a great time. AR drove me there. That was a wonderful experience. Yeah, he took me to the launch of Herbie Hancock's book launch. He bought me a book. And then, yeah, it was all like a nice vacation for me.
Amazing. There is one incident, Mohini, you know, I believe that was a night before your board exams. You were in Chennai and you were working with Rahman in his studio and you were recording until 4 a.m. Can you tell us about that incident, please?
I mean, I was gigging so much with him that time, and I was traveling so much, like crazy, like every day almost. And then my board exams, because I was studying also at the same time, you know, so it was becoming very hard for me to balance the two lives that I was living in school and then in the music world, you know. Kids your age don't understand what you're doing that time. Yeah. It's like, oh, acha, tu baja rahi hai, okay. You know, it's like, ठीक है, उसमें क्या बड़ी बात है? वो भी बेस गिटार, उनके लिए तो गिटार ही है वो, you know. बोले नहीं यार, मैं बेस बजाती है. हाँ, वो टिंग टिंग ना, तो उनके लिए वही था. तो अभी, you know, I never explained कि क्या होता है बेस वगैरह, because उनको समझ में नहीं आता. So I was doing my own thing, and then they were doing, of course, their life. And but the funny part is, like, now years later, when now I am somebody, all these friends of mine जिनको एक समय कुछ समझ ही नहीं आता था, वो मुझे मैसेज करके पूछते हैं कि तू वही है जो हमारे क्लास में थी, you know. तो वो बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि मतलब अभी उनको समझ में आता है कि अरे ये वही मोहिनी दे है, now she is मोहिनी दे, तभी मोहिनी हुआ करती थी हमारी दोस्त. Or now they are like, oh my God, we are so proud of you, and now we understand what you were doing, and we're so proud of you, and blah blah. So मजा आता है अभी सोच के वो times कि हम तभी कितने छोटे थे वगैरह. But Yeah, so coming back to board exams, मेरा board exam शुरू हो गया था and I was not prepared at all because कैसे कर सकते हैं, 2 लाइफ नहीं हो पाता है. मेरा weight lose हो जा रहा था. Like I was losing so much weight and so much hair. I'm glad I still have hair on my head. But तभी मेरी मम्मी मेरे साथ travel करती थी या फिर मेरे dad used to travel with me for all my shows, all my recording sessions out of the city. So my mom was traveling with me to Chennai. I gave my exam, went to Chennai, record kiya. AR was recording me. We were recording for NAFS, NAFS. This is a vocal just an a cappella band with just bass and 6 vocalists. People out there can check it out on YouTube if you just type NAFS AR Rahman. You can check it out. Very cool project. So he was planning this for a long time, and he told me, and he wanted to record me. So Chennai gayi thi, wahan record kiya unke saath. And then he said, why don't you stay over? I have another song. I was like, I have an exam to give. I'm in between my board exams. He's like, it's okay. No, don't give. It's fine. I'm like, gosh, ऐसा हो सकता. But जाना पड़ेगा. So like, then I went back to Mumbai, straight from the airport to the center, gave my exam, then again flew back to Chennai. Then did the second song and then back to Mumbai. Pass तो हो गई बस, वो अच्छा था. 65% के साथ.
So that was Mohini Dey, one of the world's and certainly India's youngest female bass guitarist, whose fan base includes A.R. Rahman and Zakir Hussain. Hailed as a prodigy from the age of 10, Mohini Dey has collaborated with some of the biggest names in India as well as the West. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the podcast show Candid Talks with BharatV.
If you like the show, please do like, subscribe and share with others. If listening on Apple Podcast, do not forget to rate 5 stars. If on Spotify or YouTube, do not forget to subscribe and share. All the bikers can listen to this podcast episode on bikersclub.in.
इसके साथ हम आज का सफर यहीं समाप्त करते हैं. बातों का सिलसिला जारी रहेगा with Mohini Dey in our next episode only on Candid Talks with BharatV. Stay home, stay safe. This is Bharat Vatsa signing off for today. दुआ में याद रखना. जय हिंद.
You are listening to Candid Talks with BharatV.